Hello again, 1/200 scale airplane collectors. I don't really view too many 200 scale planes because I already collected most of the ones I want, but every now and then Herpa comes out with the one that I don't have, and today is the TU-22M3 Backfire code name. Part of the Russian Air Force, of course. It's Tupolev, it's a Russian airplane company. Okay, so here on these Herpa ones, this is, well, first of all, it's taped. Of course, I don't have a knife handy. Okay, so you have a window here and there's some information. Good. I did pull up Wikipedia, but if you want to pause that, you can read up on this thing. Only this side is English, though. Okay. I'm not going to read that. Wikipedia says this was introduced in 1972, and almost 500 of these airplanes were built, and is still flying today. It's actually been used in the Ukraine war. Well, also some of them have been taken out in the Ukraine war. I assume it's going to be around that large, which is quite big. This is really big for my collection. Herpa also has a TU-60, which is even bigger, but I won't collect that. It's too big. But if Herpa, if you guys want to get my money, make a 1/400 scale version of that, and I'll buy it for sure. But at 200 scale, it's just too much. I can't deal with it. This I really don't want either. I'd much rather have this in 1/400 scale with less detail. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, you can have a flight stand, and then it says you can get rid of that flight stand, just have a third bomb or missile. I think these are anti-ship missiles. They're quite large. Oh boy, okay. So you got this vacuum form thing here. Let me back out a little bit. So if you want a funny read, you want to look up just TU-22. Of course it's on tape. Yeah, so I was reading up on the predecessor, which is called the TU-22, and that thing is a comedy read. Like, it was so poorly designed. Also, there was a cooling system that was basically vodka, and so the crews would be getting drunk off the cooling system. And so, but that's just the predecessor, the TU-22. Okay, I'm just gonna get all this stuff out now. I hope I'm not destroying anything putting it on the table there. You want to keep this packaging, because if you intend to ever sell these, you will never be able to mail a diecast airplane safely, in my opinion, without the original packaging. Okay. So there's some images, not of this particular registration, but just the airplane itself. I'm going to put this base together. You got to slide that and then move that tab back all the way, maybe? I don't know. It doesn't want to go all the way. Let's try that again. I don't want to break the plastic. That's literally gouging into my hand. Alright, well, it does go all the way. It's just going to take a lot of effort. And so it does have the text of what the plane is, so that's good to know. Granted, it's all in Russian, but you can make it out. So this one has variable wings. So very hard to focus between two objects, right? But just reading some stats here on Wikipedia. Well, let me get this photo up here. Try to look at that. So this thing has a wingspan of 34 meters, and is swept around 23 meters. I'm approximating these measurements, by the way. And then let's see, fuel capacity, 54,000 kilos of fuel. Let me spread this thing out here. Where's the flight speed? Maximum speed is like Mach 2. Okay. No, I'm sorry. It says Mach 1.88. And so here you can see a person literally standing inside one of these engines. There's a remote controlled cannon, but there's no one back here. This is all remote controlled. And then I want to show this. Just those engines look insane, right? Very cool. All right, so I think, well, I guess I could try to show this and rear view here. It's kind of hard. It's really hard to do this stuff. No. Alright, so then it has a combat range of around 2,500 kilometers or 1,600 miles, and typically holds around 10,000 kilos of weapons, these 3 giant missiles, I guess. Alright, I think we should, we'll just start just looking at the flight mode because I don't want to break all this stuff off. Yeah, I will say though, this top vertical stabilizer, it's kind of gappy. So I grab this with my toothpick here. See, that's not really flush. That's kind of weak. Yeah, so it wasn't glued properly. I have a suspicion there's a tab here, and there's too much paint on that tab, and that's what's keeping something from pressing down fully. So that's unfortunate. Herpa, you need to do better. These are very expensive models, in my opinion. They should be perfect. Okay, just out of convenience, I'm going to start with the tail fin here, vertical stabilizer. So you have a ton of panel gaps, and they're very thin. This is a toothpick, you know, we're comparing to. So, and then what's nice is these are all Tampo prints. They're paint. There's no decals here. So yeah, very cool. There's a registration, and there's that remote-controlled cannon. It's like a silver and gunmetal color. Very neat. All right, some sort of inlets and stuff. All sorts of panel gaps and axis hatches. The rear stabilizers, yeah, minor details there. Okay, coming out to the base of the wings, you have some printed black lines. These white things are probably like headlights or something. And then the little fold-out wing, yeah, there's a little silver back in there. With the Russian star. And then the leading edges are painted silver on these, all the wings there. It's nice that, you know, they have some sort of mechanism, maybe some meshing teeth. So you move one wing, it moves both. All right. So it's kind of reminiscent of a Top Gun, you know, F-14, just massive. All right, so up top here we have a golden dome. Just no idea what that is, of course. That's raised as well, whatever that bump is. And then a whole bunch of hatches again, and grooves and panel details. There's some sort of vertical fin there. It's molded in, it's not a separate piece, so it's kind of thick. And then we have the windows are painted like a dark gray. I don't know if these are like ejection panels. Maybe the seats, you know, eject upwards or something. The old TU-22, they would eject downwards, which makes no sense because most accidents occur when you're either taking off or landing. So you'd be ejected downwards into the ground. But this one, I'm going to guess they changed it. It's kind of like a funky, like Woody Woodpecker nose going on here. And sadly, again, the fitment isn't so great. It looks like this is gappy right here when it gets tighter back there. So yeah, somehow they should design this better, or maybe not put so much paint in there that would stop the pieces from meshing together. Okay, this side, yeah, nothing. It's pretty much a mirror image. But let's see if we can get into those back engines and see what's going on. Ooh, they're pretty deep. Let's see if I can get a flashlight down in there. Yeah, I think you can kind of see some turbofan details and some sort of ridging ahead of him. So pretty nice, pretty cool. It's interesting that the engine's so far inwards. Maybe that's to reduce radar signature or something, heat signatures. Oh, I didn't even notice on the top of the stabilizer up here you got two like cones. I wonder if those are lights or sensors or something. Yeah, so this whole top half is actually a separate piece. I'm now noticing a gap here. So it's like a two-piece fuselage. I just wish it fit a little tighter. Okay, the bottom. Alright, pleasantly there's no sensitive antenna sticking out. You're not going to bend any antenna off like you would find on some 1/400 scale airplane. This is all pretty rigid and safe. Okay. It's also nice that Herpa writes their logo on here, or prints it on there, so you can pick this up and you at least know who made the thing. Some other brands don't do that. And wow, it's just a multitude of details as far as the panels go. Just so much going on there. It's crazy. And there's a little silver paint up in that one. That's about it though. The 2 stars. Yeah, there's a black window here. I'm gonna guess maybe someone can go down here, or at least there's a camera there so they can see the bombing angles. If they're gonna drop bombs, that is. Alright, so while this is upside down, and again with no majorly sensitive parts and this being such a big model, I think I can actually rest it like upside down. Oh, before I do that, let's go into the front engines. Try a different flashlight. Wow, those are way in there. I don't know if I don't think there's any engine intake details. No, I think I literally see the mechanism of the wings. I don't think the camera's gonna pick it up. No, there's no like fan details in the front end, which I guess is probably realistic because the engine might be like more here or something like that. Okay, so anyways, there is a screw holding the top and bottom together, but there's only one screw. So maybe there's a tab or something in the back, and this is then holding the thing together. You can obviously see all the hard point attachments for these accessories. And so, speaking of which, let's look at one of these missiles. So these are plastic, these missiles, whereas that plane was die-cast. And frankly, I would prefer all these to be all plastic. So if I drop it, there's a good chance it'll survive. And also, it's less shipping cost. And better detail. I guess that's a primary reason. You're always going to get better detail in plastic than metal. Because plastic is a softer material. It doesn't wear out the molds as much as a metal would. So they can get more parts out of it or just have finer molds. See, those are nice tight lines. The front end is painted a different, it's like a gray, and the rest is gunmetal. And then the wing mount is already put on there. Let's see how tight this mount is. Yeah, that's pretty tight. In fact, so there we go. I don't think that's going to fall out anytime soon. That's going to be really difficult. I also feel I should probably have put the landing gear in first. So looking at such, so you have the green wheels, and then these tires, I think they're plastic, which is good. I don't like the rubber wheels because they're going to crack off one day. And then for some reason, this thing can actually roll. So it's like a toy. I don't see a need for that myself, but it is there. Some extra molding flash though you might want to trim off. Alright, so it does have the panel on there, and really good details for all the actuators and struts and shocks of a landing gear system. So you have 2 pegs there on this thing. You also have some doors. This might be for the front one. Let's see if I can figure this out. This is for this side. Now that's loose, unfortunately. I'm afraid you're going to want to glue that in place, or at least poster putty it in place, which I will have to do because I have to put this in a suitcase later and fly with it. So I put a little poster putty across both of those pegs, and let's see if that will at least keep this thing on for the video. You definitely want to put the landing gear on first. I couldn't put it on with the missile in place. I took the missile off and then put it back on after the landing gear. Alright, so this thing's going to go here. the missiles go in really nice and tight. It's just this one landing gear is problematic. I don't know why they would. I kind of wish they just skipped the two little pegs and had like one large slot that went in there. It'll be more durable, be a little less realistic, but at least it would work. And then look at the angle of these wheels. This one's kind of parallel, but this is way jacked up. It's not parallel. So I don't know if it's because of the poster putty, but it looks downwards there. It's not cool. Alright, so now this third missile though is sitting flush within the fuselage. Interesting. A little more aerodynamic, I guess. That's kind of loose also, so poster putty is advised. It's also interesting that the bottom wings of this missile are folded, you know, for landing clearance or takeoff clearance, and they're not vertical. So that's kind of cool. There's two rockets in the back end of it as well. Alright. Okay, so now let's see if I can get the front landing gear set. So this is the open one. I assume this goes in first, and there's a hole. I assume that there's no instructions for the landing gear, so maybe it goes like that. And then, so the front landing gear has a 24 printed on it, and pretty decent details. And yeah, it does have two pegs, so yeah, the doors need to have the hole in the front, so this landing gear will peg into the door piece and also the airplane. Come on. Doesn't want to go in. Oh, there it goes. I think this is actually die-cast metal. Okay, I think that's good enough. And then it does have the actual, well, let me put that down. It does have 3 panels if you want to have them all covered up in the flight mode. And that front one also, you know, the closed panel has the 24 on it. So that's nice that you have those 2 options. So let's try to look at some more strategic bombers. They're just so big, it's going to be hard to fit in the frame. So all these are made by Herpa. This is the older TU-22M3, nicknamed the Bear. So this still flew over the Ukraine war and all that stuff. But this is poorly designed by Herpa. The whole body, the fuselage, and the wings are metal. But look how much metal is back here versus the nose. So basically the thing will not sit horizontal because all the weight is in the back. Ideally, I think, since you have these bomb bay doors or something, or maybe they could have just hollowed out this whole middle and put a plastic piece to mimic the doors and just the rest of the fuselage. Because it's just, yeah, there's nothing you can do other than, I don't know, there's no solution other than gluing the front wheel down, which is not going to be good, right? So, I wish this was 1/400 scale. It is so huge. Alright, so I'm trying to fit the B-52 up here now, but I don't know if I can. So this is again by Herpa. And these are the 2 big strategic bombers by the 2, I guess, superpowers, if you want to call them that. Unfortunately, this one broke during shipping. You can see the engines here are plastic, so this pylon or whatever attaches it to the wing just broke off and I couldn't find it in the box. I don't know if I'm going to buy another one because they're so expensive and then it just might break again. This one I added the optional parts for the cruise missiles. These, so you'll notice the gray is a different color than the airplane because they were a different part number, and I glued them on. Okay, so today's subject matter is actually quite small in the realm of strategic bombers, but they're still all pretty big planes. So I guess I would say the B-52 is probably the largest of the 3. The Bear is a little bit shorter as far as wingspan, and just in general it's just a smaller looking airplane. But that's a prop plane, whereas these are jet planes. Okay, let me reset. So another cool airplane by Herpa, as usual, as one would expect for the price of these things. They're well done. I don't notice much paint rash going on in the airplane hobby world, at least the high-end hobby grade airplanes. Not much paint rash other than Gemini jets. That brand has problems. So I will collect more. Preferably, they'll just come out with more of one. I think they could have easily made a 1/400 scale version of this and those other bombers. Dragon actually makes a 1/400 scale B-52, which I do have. They would look a little bit more goofy though, because the wings, would have to be proportionally thick and thick enough that they wouldn't break, but they would look proportionally weird with the rest of the body. But I think I'm okay with that sacrifice, because I'd rather have maybe a lower grade small model than no model at all, which is the case for the TU-160. I know that's a massive airplane, so I don't think I'll ever buy that by Herpa in 1/200 scale. Alright, I'm rambling on, so I guess I shall see you the next time we do one of these airplane videos. Bye now.